So let's just mark the start of a project, shall we? This is our journey. Welcome to the Betancourt's homestead. Let's just mark the start of a project. These are 4 pieces of furniture that I have been given. This stuff is scaring the crud out of me. Do you ever like read the directions? Yeah, I'm a direction reader. I should not read the directions. Let's just say in order to use this, I'm going to have to dress in a full-on hazmat suit. I cannot use a wire brush. It has to be in synthetic brush. I cannot use, it's just all this list of don't. So I'm just sitting here going, well, what can I do? What can I do? Like, right? Gecko on the cover. Tell me, what can I do? It's scaring me so much, I'm like, I'm just going to go get some Dawn dish soap. That takes care of everything grease and grime and icky. They are old, rickety. They will need some repair, but I can do it. I can do it. And this is what they look like now. When she gave this to me, she told me these were whiskey glass holders. I thought that was so cute. What I'm not sure about is if I'm going to be using this or not. I'm going to have to think on it. Walk away. Think away. And just like that, it is all washed. And yes, I used the gross, ugly stuff, the stuff that had all of the labels, and I did not wear a hazmat suit. There are some things we don't need to tell my man. But I do have some repairs to make. Just a few. I'll take each one of these in the shop and I will go over it and fix any of the loose screws and cut and remake any of the boards, match the boards up, and get those all fixed. And we're being watched and yelled at by a chipmunk. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. They'll learn. We got Henry and Charlie and Mr. Mole and a chipmunk in the tree chirping at me like I'm the issue. He better be careful. He's outnumbered. It's time to start another project. Remember that furniture that lady gave me? That sweet lady gave me. Well, she gave my mother some furniture too, and my mother ended up giving some of it to me because she didn't want it. Let me show you what we're dealing with. Now, it's 2 tables. And I know why my mother gave it to me, because there's a ton of wood rot all over it. And basically, any normal person would throw this away. But I'm not normal. Probably certifiable insane. Just kidding. Or am I? Let's look at the legs again. See the one in the back? It's not even touching. There are some problems on the top of it, so we're going to see what we can do. It's probably got a good couple years left on it if I can get it. It looks like it was in the dirt. Let's put some magic to it. The bottom one is also going to have the same issue as with the legs as the top one. Oh, the building inspector is here. Well, there you go. Everything's going to be okay now. It didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to, so let me explain. I had 2 tables. The top one had like 3-inch shorter legs on one leg, and I tried taking it all apart. It just really had a ton of wood rot. There was no way of saving it unless I wanted to rebuild the whole thing, and what's the point in that, right? So here's what I did. I put it in the dump pile. I put it in the burn bin. It is now sitting in the burn bin. But let me show you the other table, because I immediately went into the other table and started working on it. So here's what I had to do. Again, the legs obviously had been sitting in dirt, on straight dirt. So it's actually level. The ground is not level. So I took out all the legs, and I took an old piece of 4x4 that was in very good condition, cut it down to the exact height of the legs, and there you go. I have, oh, and I painted it with that paint, which is the accent color of our house. So everything matches. I just finished repairing one of the tables. I couldn't do the other one. I just kept looking at it, and every time I picked it up, another screw gave way. It just was full of so much rot. So it went down to the burn pile, and it will be burned as soon as the burn ban is lifted. But here is what I'm going to do now. I love that stain that I have been using. It goes on like paint. It's so easy. And I created out of trash, something I was going to throw away, chairs. Let me show them to you. You know those patio furniture sets you buy? They're like $3.99. I got 2 chairs, a table, and a love seat. Love seat is still up on the porch. But these chairs, the cushions totally disintegrated on these chairs. I had them covered and everything, but they're like, oh, 5, 13, they're 18 years old. These chairs are. 2 years ago, I had a girlfriend of mine, a young friend. She's such a sweetheart. And she showed me a picture that she found on Pinterest of how somebody redid the chairs by putting planks of wood on them, because the cushions for these were about $50 a piece, and they needed a front and a back. That's expensive. So what I did was I just took basic stock lumber, 2x6s, and I jerry-rigged together a seat. It is absolutely one of the most comfortable seats ever. We're going to recover them right now. So they're not really comfortable, but when you go to Walmart and you buy the $4.97 pillows, outside pillows, and you put 2, 3 of them on the back, they are the most comfortable things in the world. So let's refinish them. We're just going to refinish the seats because they kind of need it. I am really enjoying this stain that goes on like a paint, because that looks amazing. So there you go. And I still have 2 chairs, 1 love seat, and another table, the whiskey table, to redo. That should be fun. Valspar, 1 coat exterior stain and sealer solid. The best thing about this stain is that it can be tinted to whatever color you can imagine. So I took in the name of my accent color of my home, and she was able to look it up in her computer system and get the exact match. So I'm painting all of my furniture, staining all of my furniture the exact color of my front door. So everything matches. Everything looks like it belongs. And it goes on so amazingly easy. It dries in well under 4 hours, depending on your conditions. And it's just so easy. And the cleanup is a breeze, just like paint. I started another project, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep it. I'm like really not sure if I'm going to actually do it. And it's the whiskey table. It's the table that I absolutely love. But the problem is it has the same amount of dry rot, and I'm gonna have to replace a ton of the wood on it, and I have to replace all the legs, and I got one of the legs off. Look at the bottom. And I'm getting ready to cut a leftover piece of lumber that I have. I mean, technically I could rebuild this whole thing, but is it really worth it? That's what I'm just not sure. We've made a decision. I'm probably really going to regret it, but it's going to take a lot of work. And I'm up for it. So let's show you what we're going to do. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. It would require a complete rebuild, and I'm just not up for that right now. And I don't want to store it. Get out. You're on camera. You mess with me. Come on. What he doesn't know is there is a back door that I am now going to go in. We have to make choices in this world of what we want to spend our energy. I cannot continue to repair every little tiny thing at the expense of enjoying peace and quiet time, even though I enjoy it. Let's go see what Hannibal's up to. This is the actual door to collect the eggs, but for some reason people like to go in. We got 3 eggs today. which is the reason why we got more chicks. However, they're supposed to slow down in the winter, and that's perfectly fine. They deserve a rest. I water glossed enough to get us through the winter. There you go. You know, I was going to delete this video because I didn't do the project, but I kept it up because I wanted to show people that you don't have to complete everything. It's okay to say no and put a line and get tripped by a cat. Remember last year that furniture that sweet lady gave me? She was moving. She actually just listed her house today, this last week. I was so sad. But she gave me a whole set. We called it the whiskey table. We couldn't save. We ended up burning that. And there was this table here that I redid before the season ended. Mr. Charlie loves it. So there's that table. And then there was this, and it literally is just, it has so much wood rot in it that it's just falling apart. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to save it or not. And then there was two of these. And the bottoms of the feet were sitting in dirt, so they have wood rot, and they don't slide and glide because they've rotted so much that they're down on the ground. So I did a thing. I kind of think it's cute. Like, what do you think? So, was it worth my time? I mean, it does move. They are so comfortable. I think I'm going to tackle this one too, but first I'm going to do that one next. Yeah, I actually did a thing. I did a thing. They're so comfortable. Now, since I looked and did the research, those chairs are both $500 a piece, brand new. And yeah, I spent nothing to repair them. I used scrap lumber and leftover stain from prior projects. So those right there were free for me. That's a score. $1,000 worth of furniture plus a couple $100 for the table. Score, score. Now let's tackle that swing. While I'm working on the love seat and repairing it, I thought I would show you how I repaired the feet here, which were literally just rotting out. This is what the feet looked like, and they literally just rotted. So I took a wire brush, and I will clean these up and make them nice and take all the rotted stuff out. And then I will measure it and cut it off. And then I build a pressure-treated leg for it and sink the screws in so that they are flat. And then I'm going to stain it all one color so it will look like it matches. Just like that. This one had a lot of wood rot. It actually has a 3-inch shoe on it. And these literally just have a 1.5-inch shoe on them right down there. These shoes are about a little, like 1.5 inches, and all you have to do is make sure that everything matches equally. On this side is 9.5 inches from here to here, and on this side I will cut off that with a jigsaw, and then I'll make my shoe to make it 9.5 inches. And there's Henry. I put another coat of stain on that because the winter had worn it. But that's it. These are my tools. I have my impact drill and I have my jigsaw. First tool I ever got. I love it. I just have some glue and a drill. And this is what my shoe looks like. I also thought I would show you what I do when the bolts are so rusty I can't get them loose. I take my metal grinder and I grind a slat in them. I use a very large flathead screwdriver and hold it in here, and then I use socket and wrench it down on this side. Unfortunately, there's always one screw in the bunch that does not, one bolt that does not want to listen, and I actually had to cut this one off, and it's still rather hot, and I had to cut the puppy off. Here's the good news. I was able to get this piece off. All the other ones were really rotted away. I was able to get this piece off in one piece, And this is my template. So I'm going to make a template, pressure treated lumber, and we're going to recut this out 3 times and install it. We'll get back with you later as we're in the installation process. This was not fun, but I have all 3 of them cut. And it is now time to go and assemble it. That is a really great question, and no, I did not power wash. Reason I didn't power wash was because the wood is so old and there's so much rot. The only thing that I used to clean them, I was concerned that it would damage the wood. The only thing I used to clean them was a wire brush to get the wood rot off, and this to scrub off anything. The paint that I used was actually a stain that goes on like paint. We've talked about it before. And you can actually use it to paint stain over the stain. And I got it from Lowe's, which just goes on like paint. It stains like a stain, and it is so easy and water cleanup. And this is where I'm at so far. Like, oh, that doesn't look like it's supposed to be like that. I didn't make a mistake. This is how it is so far. I'm going to be working on this in a bit. It's a great question. I was concerned for power washing that I would damage the wood, and it's so delicate anyways that I want to do the least amount of damage as possible. Hard work and a brush. I'm just leaving a hardware store, and I'm going to tell you right now, they cut some boards for me, and Matt at the hardware store was amazing. He helped me figure out what the best way to redo this love seat that we have going on. The one that I got for free because that sweet lady didn't want it. She was moving, and he designed the whole, or he figured out. Now we get to go home and try and piece it together. The fun shall begin. I am going to have to technically rebuild the whole entire thing because a lot of it is rotted out. And, you know, we're just going to go piece by piece. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. And then the thought of sitting in it with my husband and a warm cup of tea on a very cold day or night, watching the stars, is just what is holding me all together. Let's get it going. The hardest thing about this whole entire ordeal was having to cut and duplicate this piece. Every single one of these pieces, including this one, were rotten, like would rot considerably. And folks, this didn't cost me a penny. It just took a lot of time. I traced and recut the whole entire, that is just a little tiny knot, the whole entire, all 3 of these pieces. Now I'm going to be drilling holes and installing them. And this is what we have. I'm putting washers in behind the bolts so that when I clamp it down, the washer is there to hold it and the bolt won't sink in. I have washers on the other side also. So I'm going to get these pieces installed and hopefully get this strong enough so that I can start staining it. Time to finish the puppy up. It's looking nice. Guess what? I am so excited because it is done. You need to look, you need to have a close-up. Where I had to remove all the bolts. Let me rescue her. You're rescued now. What do you have to say to your people? What do you have to say to your people? Now, on to the next thing. I'm building a gate. I've needed to build the gate all year. It was the only thing I really had to build. So, stay tuned.